educate, enlighten, entertain. Thank you for joining us today on the most important 15 minutes of your day, where we share expert information on safety and preparedness that you can use in your everyday life. I'm Shannon Zeeman, a battle-tested warrior, a wife of a police officer, proud mom of 2 great boys, an author, and a breast cancer survivor. I'm so thrilled that you're here with me. Joining me today is Detective Troy Zeeman. He's been married to his high school sweetheart, that's me, for 19 years, and we have 2 wonderful boys together. Troy has been in law enforcement for over 25 years with many different assignments like patrol, gang units, and traffic investigation. He's been training active shooter response tactics since the Columbine school shooting in 1999. This is kind of the fun part because now I get to brag about my husband. Troy's been awarded the California State Governor Medal of Valor by none other than Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, a police chief citation, the City of Newport Beach Medal of Valor, along with numerous other awards for his amazing service to the public. Troy and I survived the Route 91 mass shooting on October 1st, 2017. And after surviving that, we founded a company called Active Shooter Prep with a single mission. It's to provide knowledge and hope of survival in an active shooter event. We've been training corporations, organizations, small businesses, and individuals since 2018 on what to do before, during, and after an active shooter event. We've also written together a new book, and this is our book. It's called Active Shooter: How to Survive the Most Important 4 Minutes of Your Life, where we share the story of how we've survived the deadliest mass shooting in the United States and our training that we've created from Troy's 25 years of law enforcement training and our personal experience. So I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, isn't he cute? He's so cute. So we're going to go ahead and share a little bit about our story of Route 91, just to give you background as to, give us street credit, right? That we actually survived it and what we did. So I'll let you go ahead and start.
So on October 1st of 2017, we were at a country music concert in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this was the 3rd day of a 3-day concert. There were 22,000 people that were attending the concert. And during that time, the last singer was on, Jason Aldean, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, and a person from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay broke out a window and used high-powered rifles to shoot at the crowd that was in the venue. And so because of that, we were able to escape that and help others get out. And then for me, it was very enlightening on my part to see how people actually reacted in an active shooter event instead of just the 20 years of training that I had at that moment. And all the training stuff, we just have actors being the victims, and it's nothing like the real thing.
I can't even imagine what it was like for Troy with his training and to see, in essence, what really happens in real life. Because, of course, I'm a civilian. I have no training. His police officer tactics and training kicked in. But for us that had no first responder training or anything like that, it was, I would just say shock. But I think for all of us, it was shock. We had gone that weekend to this amazing venue called Route 91 Harvest. Great venue. And the best performers you can imagine, amazing people. And we were there celebrating with a group of friends because I had just completed chemo and beat breast cancer. So we had a lot of wonderful things to be there celebrating. When the shooting happened, I'll give my perspective and then you can give yours really quick. My girlfriend and I and Troy and her husband were all hanging out kind of towards the back area where everyone was standing, having a great time, dancing, and we ran out of our drinks. So like all fantastic husbands, Troy and Jesse went to the bar to get Jenny and I drinks, and Jenny and I continued to dance to all the great music that Jason Aldean was playing. And all of a sudden we heard what sounded like fireworks. And I assumed, because it was the last day of the venue and everything, they were fireworks up at the stage. Nothing happened, and everybody kept on dancing. Jason Aldean was singing. Like, why would we ever think something weird was happening? The first full barrage came out, and I thought it was someone who snuck in those little fireworks on the string, and it's like the boppity bop bop bop. And I didn't really think anything about it. Nobody moved. Nothing changed. Jason Aldean kept on singing, why would I think someone was shooting at us? After that, the second barrage came out. Again, never once fathomed that we were being shot at. I thought, again, who is the person over here lighting off fireworks? But then at that point, Jason Aldean and his band ran off the stage. The floodlights came on, and we had 7,000 people in front of us that were going to run back towards us because that was the only exit they knew. So my intent was to get Jenny and I somewhere where we could barricade so we wouldn't be trampled. And by the grace of God, Troy and I wound up at the same place. So I'll let you tell them your side of the story.
So I was up at the bar on the right side of the stage. It's actually the bar's in the middle of the stage, but it separates the stage from right and left side. And the right side of the stage is where the rounds were coming in. So while I was there trying to get a drink, we heard the first barrage and started feeling some shrapnel hitting the back of my legs, and I didn't really know what it was at first. But then as I turned around, a second barrage came in, and I could see the rounds coming down range and hitting people. So I was talking to Jesse and told him that we probably need to get out of the fire area where we're getting shot at and move to another location so we can start assessing on how to get out of there. And again, just like Shannon said, we went to the same place. It was the closest place with some cover, and we were able to meet up there and then start figuring out a way to get out of this venue without getting hurt.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Troy did get shot in the leg while he was assessing and trying to help this huge group of people that were now joining us in this area. But we were able to, over 20 people, get out safely. Troy eventually got medical attention, but it was over 5 hours afterwards because there was always somebody else that was hurt more and needed help. So from that, we decided to take the tools that we had learned in this experience along with Troy's 25 years of experience, and we would help educate people so that maybe you have an idea if, God forbid, you do get into an active shooter event or any kind of stressful event. So now that we've shared our story, our really quick story of surviving Route 91, do you want to explain the basic model of our training?
Yeah, the basic model of our training is that our company really wants to train in a low stress and low anxiety environment. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because of all the training that I had as a first responder, it's very high stress and it's very quick. You want to get in there and save lives. And in a civilian situation, the civilians don't get as trained as often. So we're hoping that the low stress and low anxiety environment will allow people to retain the training for longer periods, and that you could provide that information to your friends and family at home. And it's important because you're not going to train every week like police do or some officers train every month. And you need to be able to retain that information that we're giving you.
That's true. One of the great things I think is with our training is, like Troy said, it's very low stress. You see a lot of news reports or different advertisements for the active shooter mock training where they run in and pretend they're a shooter. Well, that's really overwhelming. And that's just even having the topic of an active shooter event it's very overwhelming for me. I don't know about anybody else. Like when we do our talks and everything, a lot of times you see people come in and even just the idea kind of glazes them over a little bit. So we work really hard to just make sure it's basic information that a civilian can understand. I'm there once in a while, like, hey, Troy, we don't know what you just said, Mr. Police Officer, bring it back to us. So that is something that we really work hard just to make it a doable suggestions to share with everyone. Do you want to mention about Run, Hide, Fight?
Sure. So one of the things that we train, our basic tactic is out of the Department of Homeland Security mantra, Run, Hide, Fight. And we believe it's a really good mantra. People can really understand Run, Hide, Fight, but there's a lot of specific tactics involved in that. So we train that basic model. And then from that basic model, we also train mental health resources, and we train the utilizing advantages of victims compared to the deficiencies of a shooter.
So that's kind of confusing right there for civilians, but sometimes he talks a little bit deeper than what we get. Can you explain what you mean by the deficiencies?
So shooters have a lot of deficiencies when it comes to actually creating a bad situation and hurting people. And because of that, I will walk you through things, or we will train you in the other parts of our components of training. And those will show you how much advantage and disadvantages the shooter has. And from that, you could utilize those deficiencies and those disadvantages against the shooter and actually defeat the shooter. And that's been proven over all the years I've been doing this. I've seen a lot of video. We've trained a lot of advantages of the victim and disadvantages of the shooter.
Well, so that's a perfect lead in to my next question or comment is, do you want to touch on the 4 components of our active shooter prep training?
So our company, Active Shooter Prep, has 4 components to it. The first component is usually a risk management training, and that's for the managers and the owners of small businesses to understand the risk management part of that and try to mitigate that litigation that could happen with their employees and how to get their employees back to work efficiently. The second part of the training is an employee training, but it's really that presentation is for anybody who wants that, from the owners, the managers, all the way down to the high schools that we train. And that is how to actually react, and gives you the tools to survive or help people survive an active shooter event. Mm-hmm. And then we have an on-site inspection, which hardens your target and basically tries to slow the shooter down as much as possible, because the slower the shooter gets to victims, the more chance the victims have to escape and not be victims.
Right. And can I tell the last one?
Yes.
So my favorite part, all of our training is great, but my favorite part is what we call strategic walkthroughs. And this is where Troy takes a small group through your building, your church, your office, even your house. And he walks you through as if you are the active shooter and shows you all the disadvantages that the active shooter has. And get this, all the advantages that we have as a civilian. The first time he did this blew my mind. And every time we provide this training, people tell us they thought they had no hope. They were sitting ducks. They weren't going to be able to do anything. And now we've provided them hope to where they feel like they have a chance. So that is, for that to be said from one of our training, is the whole reason why we do this.
Yeah, we provide that hope and empowerment for people, and that's just one of the ways we do that.
Right. And anybody can take our training. So it can be from, students at school to retired persons at their home or their organizations, all types of businesses, churches, schools and universities, organizations such as sports organizations or volunteers, and even nonprofit. So we're always here to answer questions and to inform you as much as we can. Would you like to share kind of like your final notes on today?
Yeah, today the model Run, Hide, Fight seems very easy. And it really is really easy. It's run, hide, fight, and people know how to do that. But when you're in an active shooter or an encounter with violence, there needs to be specific tactics And for each one of those components of run, hide, fight, we'll train you on all those tactics and understanding of what you can and can't do. And that gives you the tools to actually survive or help people survive these encounters. Because even if the person next to you doesn't have the same training as you do in this run, hide, fight, you can still help them out. The same what Shannon and I did at Route 91. There was a lot of people that didn't have that, but we still helped them out of the venue.
Yeah. So like Troy was just hinting at, he's going to join me once a month here on the podcast, and we're going to discuss active shooter preparedness training. So next month, we're going to dive deeper into run, hide, fight. We're going to share how you can use this mantra successfully to get out of a venue and to give you doable tools and suggestions that you can use in your everyday life and to share with your family and loved ones. So we're really excited about that. If you're interested at all in our book, you can definitely visit our website at activeshooterprep.org to order your book, and we'll even sign it for you if you want. And so thank you so much. It's not like you really had a choice, but thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And we just gave you a little bit of our story of Route 91, and we hope that you enjoyed it. We can't wait to share our training with you more and more and dive in each month and just give you these great empowering tools. Next week, I have Vlad Anderson, who's going to be joining me, and he's a retired resource school officer, and he's going to share our knowledge about the dangers of social media with our teens today. So I think that's going to be filled with a lot of great information that we can utilize, even with it's just with us also. I think it'll be fantastic. So I really want to thank you for listening to Passionate World Talk Radio today. You have been listening to the most important 15 minutes of your day with me, Shannon Zeeman. And you can listen to this podcast anywhere you find your podcasts. Just remember, with knowledge, you have the power.